My name is Jean-Bernard Rutagarama. Originally from Rwanda. I'm a British national and live in the US. I work in the film industry as a cinematographer, also known as the director of photography. And I've been in the industry for a long, long time. Childhood, just grew up in Rwanda. Going to school, playing with my friends, played basketball. I always thought I would be able to actually play in the NBA. I was a big fan of Michael Jordan. Just very an interesting childhood. I went to school, hang out with some friends, and chased girls. That's pretty much it. And obviously then when the genocide happened, we had to flee, and then found myself in a refugee camp. And that's when I first came in contact with the camera. Amongst all the suffering, there was a news camera crew from NBC actually that were filming the life in a refugee camp. And I befriended, I got a job working as a fixer, which meant I carried tripod, I would translate, I would basically help out whatever was needed. And the cameraman, his name is Brian Prinkle, I can never forget that guy. He then allowed me to look through the viewfinder of the camera, and little did I know that was history, because I realized earlier on that the camera is such a powerful tool. You could change people's perspective, you can inform, you can educate, you can challenge, you can do all kinds of things with a camera. So it became like a destiny, and I wanted to learn everything I could learn about camera. And then I got lucky to get out of the refugee camp and then moved to England. I joined my uncle, who was a British national, and I was under 18, so I was allowed to settle in England, and I learned English, so I spoke French at the time, and I eventually continued my education, and I ended up going to film school in England. And I had a great time. I was a very dedicated student, very driven, as most Rwandans are when they go abroad. And then I eventually, before I graduated at university, I had gone to New York as a camp counselor for children, because I played basketball, so I was a basketball camp counselor. And I visited a friend of mine who I had met in the refugee camp, who was a news reporter for Fox. She worked for Fox. And then I happened to have my tape back then. It's like my show reel of things I've done at university, another project I did before. And then I met the head of production for Fox, and then we started talking, and then I just happened to have a backpack with my tape in. He put the tape in the deck, he watched my work, and then he told me, when you graduate school, you have a job. So I had a job before I even graduated. So I worked on getting the visa, they gave me a job offer, and then when I graduated, within 2 months I was in New York working for Fox. And then 9/11 happened, everything changed. And then eventually I started freelancing in New York, working for Fox, and then I became a camera trainee on a show called Law & Order. And that was a good training ground. And I was just working on music video, commercials, getting more experience and more exposure to different aspects of the film industry. And then, and then eventually I made it to Los Angeles. So Truth's boss was a producer for NBC, and then I met her when I was in a refugee camp. When I moved to England to join my uncle had a small place with 2 kids and a wife. It was crowded, so Truth had a big house. She didn't have any kids. Her and her partner, David, they were not married then, offered me to come and live with them. It's like, she's a crazy Muzungu. Why is she wanting some African kid to come and live with her? So I moved out of my uncle's place, and then I took a training course before university. It's a course that prepares you to go to university. I was still finishing learning my English, and then I lived with Truth's boss. She became like my surrogate mother, and she introduced me to the British culture. They exposed me to all kinds of things. She convinced me to go to university, and she secured an internship at NBC in London. I was 17 years old, and I was an intern for 7 years. No, sorry, for 1 year. Sorry, let me repeat. She introduced me to her work, and then I became an intern for NBC in London. And I became the longest intern they ever had. I was an intern for a whole year. Going there after school on a weekend, and I would learn everything I needed to learn. I learned editing, I learned sound, I learned cameras they were using, I learned lens, and I was learning everything on my own, asking everybody everything I could ask for. And then with her giving me good advice, she said I needed to move to the United States. And I went to the States through an initiative called Camp America, which takes people from all over the world to go and be camp counselors to children in the US. And I was a camp counselor specializing in basketball because I loved basketball, and I played really well. And that was my first time getting to the US. And then I connected with my other friend who worked for Fox, and then they offered me a job. Oh wait, so that's before, sorry, there's a gap, sorry. Truth advised me to go to university, and then I continued my education, and I did really well. I graduated with honors, 2 honors. And then through the camp counseling program that I've done years before, every summer I will go to the States. And then on my last summer to the States, that's when I met the head of production for Fox. And then I showed him my show reel. He offered me a job before I graduated. And then when I graduated, I went straight to New York to start my career. Yeah, that's a hard question. I guess me personally, I wasn't always driven, because I remember when I was still a student, when I was still young in Rwanda, I hated the courses I was studying. I studied commerce et comptabilité. It's accounting and commerce. I hated math. My side of the brain preferred being an artist, but I didn't know. Back then, a career as a cinematographer or an artist or anything did not exist. So that was not an option. If you wanted to succeed in Rwanda back then, you had to study the medicine, finance. There was basically, or you go into education or become a translator or something. There was not, you wouldn't be able to make a good living as a cameraman, but there was maybe only one television station and so on. So in terms of being driven, I was giving up rare opportunities that I felt compelled to pursue those opportunities. And then because I found my passion. Basically, I think there's a saying that if you find a job that you like, you will never work a day in your life. So I don't see it as working. I see it as pursuing a passion. You just happen to get paid really well for it. So I have been given some really rare opportunities, and I just took it, and it was tremendous. I got that from Truth, who was my surrogate mother, because she was also driven when she was younger. Yeah, and I just took every opportunity I was given, basically. In terms of youth here, the advice I would give the youth in Rwanda right now is if you are given an opportunity, please take full advantage of it. Even if you don't have the opportunities, create them, pursue them, find them. As you know, if you are driven and you have a passion, make sure you just give it everything you got, because you never know what you can become. I think the landscape of the film industry and TV and movies and documentaries in most medium is changing. With YouTube and all new other platforms, there is definitely an opportunity to actually create content. So it's a way of expressing yourself, it's a way to tell your story, it's a way to have a voice. And if that's a field you are interested in, you should definitely pursue it. You should, it is much simpler these days compared to before. You have YouTube. Everything you can want to learn, you can learn it on YouTube. You can learn camera, you can learn sound, you can learn any aspect of production on YouTube, and it's free. So really take advantage of that. That's what I would say to the youth. If you want to pursue a career in those fields, use all the tools available for you. In terms of opportunities here, unfortunately, Rwanda is still far away from having similar opportunities like you'll find in Europe or the US in terms of both training, accessibilities of equipment, and also being able to showcase your work. But that's just a limitation, and you can overcome those limitations. You know, you can make your film here using what you have. People make films with iPhones. You know, just get good sound, and you can achieve that, and then make your film, and then submit it at a film festival. You can start with African films, regional film festival, and eventually submit it to a foreign film festival. If you have a good story, just tell it, and you can also just put it on YouTube, and you never know. I'll just say the youth, just take advantage of these opportunities that you have and run with it. You never know. So 8 years ago, I was approached by a young cameraman by the name of Christian Gakombe, and then he had heard about me, that I'm a Rwandan living in Los Angeles, working in the film industry, and he, through a friend of mine, he managed to track me down, and we met at Bourbon Coffee. And then he was begging me to teach him everything I know about camera. I'm like, I didn't even bring my main camera. And then I started asking him questions. Is there people like you who are interested in learning cameras? And then he says, yes, there is a lot of people here. There's actually a movement of young filmmakers really needing to learn certain advanced skills. And I was like, okay. And then I made a deal with him, like, I'll come back next year at the same time next year, the following year, and I'll bring my main camera I use in the States, and then it's your job to gather those few filmmakers who are interested in learning, and then we'll conduct some sort of workshop. A year later, I came and then I brought my Red Helium 8K. It's like 8K resolution. Even right now, we are still on 4K. And then I brought a standard, very professional tripod, and then even I brought a jib. And then we conduct our very first workshop at the Genocide Museum. And we had agreed on having maybe 10 students, something like 36 people signed up. And then we negotiated down to 15. It was very difficult to teach a large class with so much hands-on by yourself. So you need small numbers. So then we conduct our very first workshop at the Genocide Museum, and it was such a success. And then some of the very first people who took that workshop are doing so well right now. They're working professional in the industry here in Rwanda. The rest is just history. Compared to 8 years ago, I think a lot of things have come a long way. There's still a lot of things that needs to be done. the energy and drive and the determination and the hunger for knowledge and training, and that has actually increased. There's a lot of young people, young professionals, and even people still in schools that are really interested in this medium, want to learn how to work on, to do movies and television and whatever other online content. They have the desire. What they're missing is training and equipment. Unfortunately, there is no infrastructure for movie, television in Rwanda, but hopefully that will come. But there is the talent. The talent just need to be developed and nurtured, and that's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of people to realize that there is an opportunity, an actual lucrative opportunity for the country to invest in the film industry. The film industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like the company I work for, NBC, I think the last reported earnings, they reported something like $12 billion profit. This is just one company, and then we have multiple companies, movie studios in Los Angeles or in the United States. So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And even if Rwanda can capitalize even on a fraction of something like that, even if it will be multi-million-dollar industry, you create it, but you have to build it from the ground up. You have to tap into the talent, the already ecosystem that exists, and then support it, sustain it. Then you create a film school with academic curriculum, and then you create rental houses. You bring sustainable equipment, infrastructure. You build a soundstage. You build rental houses. You develop cross-platform institution to invite them to come into the ecosystem of the film industry. For instance, Rwanda has makeup artists for wedding. You can cross-train them into do makeup for movies. Rwanda has people who make clothing and uniforms and so on. You can cross-train those people on how to do wardrobe for movies. Then you even have people who works in construction, the laborers who build houses. They can come and build movie sets that are needed. You can cross-train into that. There is all kinds of things. Also, the film industry will actually tap into other existing industry, including hospitality, because movie gets into a specific area, they spend money. They need places to stay, they need places to eat, they need entertainment, they need transportation. So that's literally money left on the table that can be utilized and maximized. And these are high-paying jobs. Movie industry is a very, very lucrative industry for both people who are above the line. These are the producers and the directors and the actors and so on. And other people who are below the line. These are the people behind the camera. It's a very lucrative industry. It's just, it needs to basically be realized here in Rwanda. Whenever there's a movie being filmed in Africa, they tend to go to South Africa or Kenya. So because there's no infrastructure in Rwanda, there is no developed talent in Rwanda. That's why even the little film production, that comes to Rwanda, they come as a small budget. Small budget for us, it's anything under 10 million. It's considered a small budget. And then they don't even spend that amount of money here, because they film the beauty of Rwanda, they film some of the small shots here. They need like a visual of Nyamirambo, they need plates, they need all that. And then they will go to Kenya or South Africa to finish the movie. So they're probably gonna spend like only 5% of their budget, and they're gonna only come for a few days, and then they're gonna spend the rest of the money in a different country because there's no infrastructure. So there's a lost opportunity to pretty much build a fully fledged infrastructure that will sustain the film industry. It's just going to take a lot of people on a policy level and government to really invest into the actual industry itself. On my end, I'm such a small, insignificant part. I'm only doing what I can. I get invited every year to teach a specific skill set in the camera department. It's either lighting, camera, composition. We just learned Steadicam this year. You know, at one point I tried to do drone. You know, there will be other opportunities for other specialized, and I'll continue to do that. I'm not gonna be deterred. And then hopefully things will change. And most recently, RDB signed a deal with Steve Harvey's production. Hopefully that will bring actual sustainable infrastructures. And then hopefully also they will seriously look into education and training, and then to build a workforce. You can't do the movies without the people. The one thing I like to say, like if you look at a movie credit, look at the names, sit back, there are so many names. Sometimes there's like 200 names. Those are jobs. Those are high paying jobs that they're not here in Rwanda. You can create those jobs. Those jobs are high paying. It's middle class and upper class type of jobs. They build economies, and it's also good for the image of the country. One thing I would say, I wish there was a campaign that will promote Rwanda as a film destination. The same, you know, similar efforts to probably make Made in Rwanda, Visit Rwanda. Why not filmed in Rwanda? So that would be, if I had all the power, all the resources, that would be a huge goal. Raise money, build infrastructure, create an educational institution benchmarked to international standards, make Rwanda a film destination. We have the security, we have the great locations, we have the talent, but just need to be developed and nurtured. We're about to build one of the biggest airports on the continent. We're going to become the hub of Africa. We should be the hub of the film industry in Africa. Yeah, what keeps me awake? You know, what keeps me awake, I guess, is okay, what if I'm unable to come? What's going to happen? You know, what's going to happen to the equipment donated? What's going to happen to other people who's not going to have the opportunity to study this? So I think I always, every group that I teach, I plead with them, please pay forward. Please teach others. Please pass the baton, share the knowledge. I give this knowledge for free. Nobody, in my workshop, nobody pays. I even provide lunch and breakfast. And I'm doing it on my own. You know, I don't have any foundation or I get some donations from my colleagues in LA. Like my boss at NBC, she donates money, you know, she donates equipment or buys equipment, and then I bring them. But these things has to exist without me. That's what my goal. If I could make this happen on a high level, and then so it can exist and run in its own without my involvement or my input, and then maybe invite other people from around the world to come and teach, you know, run their own workshops. We were successful during COVID, and because I was not able to come, we had an acting workshop. It was more of an acting coach workshop as a test over Zoom. And then we also had a script writing workshop from a friend of mine in Hollywood, who's a script writer. She ran a workshop for multiple weeks for, you know, script writing. So it can be done over Zoom. You know, but if I had all the money in the world, I would literally bring the entire Hollywood community in Rwanda to teach in every aspect of the film industry, and developed a good curriculum. I approach the top film schools in the country, in the US, you know, USC, UCLA, the American Film Institute, the New York, there's another one called the New York Film Academy, and then NYU, and then really bring their expertise in an academic level to really come and help develop curriculum for in every aspect of the film industry, and then also create a sort of a graduate program. And this thing can take only 3 years to actually start, because, you know, I study film for 3 years, undergraduate and then graduate. So about 5 years, you could create from the ground up. You could create a film industry. As you're educating the workforce, you could be building the infrastructure. That means power, transportation, movie studios, and everything can be built at the same time. So when these graduates finish, there will be an infrastructure to sustain them, but also to start attracting jobs, bring foreign production in Rwanda, and then create this other industry as big, if not bigger than Visit Rwanda. If it's big, if not as big as VW coming here. I think it's gonna happen. It's just gonna take a lot of more work. For instance, NBC wanted to give me movie lights, like the large lights that we use to light an entire street. A movie light that you can put on a crane 100 meters in the air on a crane, and then you can light the entire Nyamirambo. They were giving those lights to me to bring for free. But unfortunately, I couldn't accept the donation because there is no movie generator in Rwanda that will be able to light that light, that will be able to power that light. So it's there is some disconnect. It's unfortunate, but it's a bit frustrating. But eventually, hopefully, we'll get there. If everybody, stakeholders and government entities would seriously take the film industry development in Rwanda very seriously, and I think it's happening with this new RDB and Steve Harvey's production happening. Hopefully, it will be a start of a beautiful and great thing. I mean, that's beyond my expertise, but I think if the people in power could have some tax incentives to attract foreign production and cultivate relationship with the friends of Rwanda. Rwanda has a lot of friends in Hollywood. All the actors that come here, they're friends of Rwanda. Rwanda can tap into those friendships and then convince them to bring their movie here. If, let's say, Leonardo DiCaprio wants to do a movie in Rwanda, that movie will be made in Rwanda. He has to go to the studio and say, hey, I like this script, I want to make this movie in Rwanda, make it happen. They will move earth and water to bring this production here. Hollywood will come. It'll be difficult because they'll probably have to bring every single person that they need and then maybe hire a few locals. So again, it's going to take a lot of people to come together and really make this happen. I'm sort of, the way forward is not really, Habari is not mine. Habari was created by, frustrated young individuals who wanted training, and I'm only a guest. They invited me to teach them. I just happen to come here every year. But I think it's gonna take off on its own. It's gonna face challenges, but I think it serves a purpose. It serves as a vehicle to facilitate training, share of knowledge, capacity building, and I hope it will continue without me coming every year. When I come to Rwanda one year, and it's like I'm not needed, then I can just go enjoy myself. What gives me hope is this new generation of aspiring filmmakers in Rwanda. They are driven, they are hungry, they looking for every opportunity to tell their stories. And honestly, I say just do it. Don't wait for RDB to create a film infrastructure. Don't wait for me to come and teach you. Literally go to YouTube, learn what you need to learn how to tell your story, and then just do it. There's nothing stopping you. Pick up your phone and then get good sound, use available light. You don't need real actors. You can use your friends, and then tell your story. And then if you don't get into film festivals, put it on YouTube. Share with your friends. You never know what's gonna happen.